Each season, many college players compete against each other with only one dream: to be picked by an NBA team. Some lucky players get the chance to become rotations for their teams and end up playing pro for many seasons, while others just disappear. But what about those whose drafts didn't make a lot of buzz? What did they amount to? In this video, we'll talk about the surprising low drafts who made it to the Basketball Hall of Fame. Starting with number 20, Dan Issel. Dan Issel was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 1993. He had an illustrious career, and some say that he was the most hardworking basketball player in the history of the game. Well, his hard work paid off as he missed only 24 games out of 1,200 official career games. That's some consistency. Issel used to play a very offensive game, and his strong and decisive decision-making helped him to become a global basketball superstar. While the player was a huge success in his NBA career, looking at his 117th draft number in 1970, you could have never predicted that. Guess numbers do lie sometimes. Up next at number 19, George Gervin. Another big name, another sensational player, another low draft pick. Picked up by the Suns in 1974 as their 40th overall pick, George Gervin never let his rough start define his career. He was one of the most amazing players in NBA history. His smoothness and creativity combined with his desire to succeed made him a living nightmare for defenders. Gervin's a 9-time NBA All-Star and made it to the All-NBA First Team 5 times. In his 14-year-long NBA career, Gervin won the league scoring title 4 times, and he's one out of 3 players in NBA history to do so. Moving on to number 18, Alex English. Picked by Denver at number 23, Alex English was part of basketball during the 1980s. He was one of the few players in the game who always listened to their coaches, ready to play wherever the coach wants them to play. On top of that, his dominant and offensive style of play made him one of the most well-rounded players in the NBA and every head coach's dream player. He's an 8-time NBA All-Star and scored a total of 25,613 points in his professional career. With that being said, English was the first player in history to score 2,000 points in 8 consecutive seasons. After that, number 17, Dennis Johnson. Pick number 29 from the 1986 draft, Dennis Johnson was always known as the best closer in the game. He always stepped up when his team needed a magical moment in the dying seconds of a game. Johnson played as a point guard and showed his class in 1979 when he led the Sonics to their first and only NBA championship. Johnson had lightning-quick feet and movement, which helped him to intercept the ball from the opponents and starting an attack for his team. Dennis was inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame in 2010. On to number 16, Artis Gilmore. Pick number 117 in the 1971 draft, Artis Gilmore was literally a giant of the game. He stands 7 feet and 2 inches tall and was an absolute force when it came to basketball. His NBA career lasted 17 years, and he won 1 championship and 3 Most Valuable Player awards. His quick feet and big long arms made him one of the greatest centers of the game. He's a 6-time NBA All-Star and made it to the NBA All-Defensive First Team 4 times in his career. Artis was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2011. Then, number 15, Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman was a superstar. While he found himself in many controversies over his career because of his bad boy attitude, we can't look away from the fact that he dominated every game he played. Rodman was picked number 27 in the 1986 draft. The Worm won 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards and made it to the All-Defensive First Team 7 times in his career. Rodman made it to the Hall of Fame in 2011. Also number 14, Louis Dampier. Louis Dampier stood 6 feet tall and was a fun-to-watch player. The playmaker was picked number 38 in the 1967 draft. He averaged 21 points per game. Dampier was the backbone of his team. He was one of the most fierce shooters in the game and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2015. At number 13, Spencer Haywood. Spencer Haywood's basketball career was nothing short of amazing. He was picked number 30 in the 1971 draft. Haywood set many records in his ABA career, such as most rebounds, rebounding average, and most minutes played, being the league's leading scorer. Haywood was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2015. Placed number 12, George McGinnis. His time at the Indiana Pacers is the highlight of his career. McGinnis was the 22nd pick in the 1973 draft. Together with Mel Daniels and Roger Brown, he won the first championship for the Indiana Pacers. McGinnis is a 3-time NBA All-Star. He was a nightmare for his opponents and one of the greatest high school players. George was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2017. Coming at number 11, Maurice Cheeks. Pick number 36 from the 1978 draft, Maurice Cheeks was one of the flashiest players in basketball. When we say that he always put his team ahead of him, we're not joking, because he was the leading assist provider for his high school and college teams for 4 long years. This stat is out of this world. Cheeks finally made it to the Hall of Fame in 2018. Now for number 10, Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace was picked up in the 1996 draft and went on to become one of the strongest defenders of his time. Come on, standing your ground against players like Shaquille O'Neal, Tim Duncan, Patrick Ewing, and Dwight Howard is a very tough gig, but Ben Wallace did it to perfection. His immense defensive skills made him win the NBA Defensive Player of the Year 4 times in his career. career. He was inducted in the NBA Hall of Fame in 2021. Let's look at number 9, Manu Ginobili. Manu Ginobili led his team to the podium of the 2004 Greece Olympics. After being picked at number 57 in 1999, Ginobili went on to become a San Antonio Spurs legend, where he spent all of his basketball career. Ginobili won 4 championships with the team and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2022. At number 8, Oscar Schmidt. Oscar Schmidt is a 5-time Olympic champion and the top scorer in Olympic history. He was famous for his point scoring, but still was really good at rebounding and an amazing passer. Let's just say that he was a complete all-in-one basketball player. Schmidt was picked number 131 in the 1984 draft and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2010. Now for some future low draft picks that are destined for the Hall of Fame. Coming up, number 7, Marc Gasol. When we're talking about the best centers of the game, Gasol's name always comes up. Picked at number 48 from the 2007 draft, Gasol achieved a lot with Memphis Grizzlies. He played a key role in the success of the Grizzlies, and there's no doubt he'll make the Hall of Fame one day. He won one NBA Defensive Player of the Year award and made it to the NBA All-Star team 3 times. Following up on number 6, Nikola Jokic. Jokic was picked at number 41 in the 2014 draft. If someone sees Jokic for the first time, looking at his style of play, they'd think that he isn't athletic at all. But the OGs of basketball know he's one of the best players of all time. The strongest element of his game is his passing. When it comes to passing, he's better than most point guards in the game. Moving on to number 5, Draymond Green. Picked at number 35, Golden State Warriors are lucky to have a player like Draymond Green on their team. Green is the type of player who's always making things happen for the team. With one pass, he can open up defenses and create point-scoring opportunities. His anticipation is just brilliant. He always knows the next move of an offensive player. His induction into the Hall of Fame is just a matter of time. Let's look at number 4, Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is easily on the list of the top 10 NBA players. His numbers in the playoffs speak for themselves. It's about time that we put some respect to his name. Chicago Bulls picked up the player in the 2011 draft at number 30. He's averaging 28.7 points per game average. Butler's introduction to the Hall of Fame is just a matter of time. All he has to do is avoid injuries and stay fit. Placed at number 3, Tony Parker. The Spurs and Hornets star Tony Parker was picked number 28 in the 2001 draft and is a guaranteed future Hall of Famer. He spent years in the NBA and won 4 NBA titles and made it to the NBA All-Star team 6 times. Parker also won a Finals MVP award in his career. On to number 2 with Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert might have to wait a few more years, but he'll surely make the Hall of Fame one day. With how much he has achieved in basketball, it's impossible for him not to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Finally, at number 1, Kyle Lowry. Picked number 24 in the 2006 draft, Kyle Lowry isn't the most polished NBA player, but he gets the job done. His chances of making the Hall of Fame are definitely going to be high once he retires. Alright, who's the best player among these Hall of Famers? Let us know below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.